John 19. I read from the Institute for Scripture Research, the ISR, because it takes a direct translation from Hebrew to English, Greek to English, and Aramaic to English. Yah is the Elohim of the heavens and the earth, the first and the last and the only. And he's an extremely jealous El. He's so jealous that he doesn't even want the names of idols or mighty ones to come to our lips. And Yah is short for YahWeh, YahWeh, Yod-Heh, Vav-Heh. It's like saying Dan, Daniel, Daniel with an E. What is the difference and does matter is when people say that Phil, Bob, Sam, and Aaron are the same name, where no, they're not. And no one in their right mind would ever believe that. And only a fool would believe that a hammer could force its creator to do anything. There was no letter J in the Hebrew, Greek, or Aramaic text because the letter J is about 600 years old, while the son of Elohim, Yehoshua, died on a stake for the sins of all of humanity over 2,000 years ago, and a direct translation from Hebrew to English, Yehoshua, is Joshua, and I strongly believe that the son of Elohim's name, Yehoshua, means Yahweh is salvation. 19. Then, therefore, Pilate took Yehoshua and flogged him, and the soldiers plaited a crown of thorns and placed it on his head. And they put a purple robe on him and came to him and said, Greetings, sovereign of the Yehudim. And they slapped him in the face. And Pilate went outside again and said to them, See, I am bringing him out to you to let you know that I find no guilt in him. Then Yehoshua came outside wearing the crown of thorns and the purple robe. And Pilate said to them, See the man. So when the chief priests and officers saw him, they shouted, saying, Impale, impale. Not crucify, because crucify is Catholic Christian garbage. It's impale, impale. Pilate said to them, You take him and impale him, for I find no guilt in him. The Yehudim answered him, We have a law, and according to our law he ought to die, for he has made himself the son of Elohim. Yahweh made him the son of Elohim, and you are a fool. So when Pilate heard this word, he was more afraid, and went back into the palace and asked Yehoshua, Where are you from? But Yehoshua gave him no answer. Then Pilate said to him, Do you not speak to me? Do you not know that I possess authority to impale you, and I possess authority to release you? You don't have the authority to release him. You'll have an uprising if you release him. Yehoshua answered, You would possess no authority against me if it were not given you from above. Because of this, he who delivered me to you has greater sin. From then on, Pilate was seeking to release him, but the Yehudim shouted, saying, If you release this one, you are not Caesar's friend. Everyone who makes himself a sovereign does speak against Caesar. Like I said. Therefore, when Pilate heard these words, he brought Yehoshua out and sat down in the judgment seat in a place that is called Pavement. Capital P in Pavement. Pavement. But in Hebrew, Gabbatha. Gabbatha. And it was the preparation day of the Pesach week, and about the 6th hour, and he said to the Yehudim, See your sovereign. But they shouted, Away, away, impale him. Pilate said to them, Shall I impale your sovereign? The chief priests answered, We have no sovereign except Caesar. At that time, then he delivered him to them to be impaled, and they took Yehoshua and led him away, and bearing his stake, he went out to the so-called place of a skull, which is called in Hebrew Golgotha, Golgotha, where they impaled him and two brothers with him, one on this side and one on that side, and Yehoshua in the middle. And Pilate wrote a title too and put it on the stake. And it was written, Yehoshua of Nazareth, the sovereign of the Yehudim. Many of the Yehudim therefore read this title, for the place where Yehoshua was impaled was near the city, and it was written in Hebrew, in Greek, in Roman. So, in Greek, in Roman. Greek is Roman. Roman is Greek. Okay. So the chief priests of the Yehudim said to Pilate, "Do not write the sovereign of the Yehudim," but he said, "I am the sovereign of the Yehudim." Pilate answered, What I have written, I have written." Then the soldiers, when they had impaled Yehoshua, took his outer garments and made 4 parts, to each soldier a part, and the inner garment, but the inner garment was without seam, woven from the top in one piece. So they said to each other, "Let us not tear it, but cast lots for it, though whose it shall be, in order that the scripture might be filled, which says, They divided my garments among them, and for my clothing they cast lots." The soldiers therefore indeed did this, and by the stake of Yehoshua stood his mother and his mother's sister Miriam, the wife of Quilopha, Qlophah, and Miriam from Magdala, Mag with a line underneath of it, Dala. Then Yehoshua, seeing his mother and the taught one who he loved standing by, he said to his mother, "Woman, see your son." Then to the taught one he said, "See your mother." And from that hour that taught one took her to his own home. After this, Yehoshua, knowing that all had been accomplished in order that the scripture might be accomplished, said, "I thirst." A bowl of sour wine stood there, and they filled a sponge with sour wine, put it on hyssop, hyssop, and held it to his mouth. So when Yehoshua took the sour wine, he said, "It has been accomplished," and bowing his head, he gave up his spirit. Therefore, since it was the preparation day, that the bodies should not remain on the stake. Hold on, it says A. It's also in Deb 21:22-23. It says and 23, but I'm saying 2:23. Therefore, since it was the preparation day, that the bodies should not remain on the stake on the Sabbath, for that Sabbath was a high one, the Yehudim asked Pilate to have their legs broken, and that they be taken away. They broke their legs, even though they're dead. Therefore the soldiers came and broke the legs of the first and of the other who was impaled with him. But when they came to Yehoshua and saw that he was already dead, they did not break his legs, but one of the soldiers pierced his side with a spear, and instantly blood and water came out. And he who has seen has witnessed, and his witness is true, and he knows that he is speaking the truth, in order that you might believe. For this took place in order for the scripture to be filled, not one of his bones shall be broken. And again another scripture says, "They shall look on him whom they pierced." Zechariah 12:10, and which I can't remember, it's either Psalms or Proverbs 34:20. It also says B. Also see Shem 12:46 and Bem 9:12. And after this, Yosef, Yose with a half a check mark, PH of Ramathaim, Ramathayim, being a taught one of Yehoshua, but secretly for fear of the Yehudim, asked Pilate that he might take the body of Yehoshua, and Pilate gave permission. Therefore he came and took the body of Yehoshua, and Nakdimon, Nak with a line underneath of it, Dimon, who at first came to Yehoshua by night, also came bringing a mixture of myrrh and aloes, about 100 pounds. Then they took the body of Yehoshua and bound it in linen wrappings with the spices, as was the habit of the Yehudim for burial. Again, it's not just a habit, but a man-made tradition. And at the place where he was impaled there was a garden, and in the garden a fresh tomb in which no one had yet been laid. There then, because of the preparation day of the Yehudim, they laid Yehoshua because the tomb was near. Actually, the tomb was built for him specifically. They didn't do it because he was near. They did it because someone had built that tomb specifically for Yehoshua. Almost as if they knew as well that he was going to die. Like Miriam, who dumped perfume all over his head when they were eating. And the guy's like, why would you do that? And he's like, and Yehoshua's like, she knows of my burial. Like, come on now. I've been telling you guys for, I don't know how long he was there telling them, but he told them for a while. And only a few people actually got it.